Alright guys, welcome to the channel. It's been a little bit since I uploaded a video. I've been very busy with stuff like hundreds of feet of goat fencing, probably well over 1,000 feet of goat fencing, and some other stuff going on. So videos have been a little bit slow, but I want to get back into this one. This one is a video that has been stewing for quite some time. Next week, more regular content reviews and such will be coming in. But I wanted to get this video done because, like I said, it's been simmering for quite some time, and I've been out here doing some worky work and thought, might as well do this video and get it knocked out really quick for you guys who want to think differently. All right, so we're talking about psyops. We're talking about the nuclear family, and our gut reaction is to automatically think of the nuclear family, which is, by most common definitions, a mom, a dad, and children living in one household. We are automatically think of this as the American dream, okay? As part of the American dream, as the ideal household environment. And when you automatically think of something as potentially complicated as this, in a certain way, chances are you've been programmed. When you automatically have an answer for something, it's probably because it's been programmed into you, okay? And so here's the deal. A lot of people are already losing their minds, like how the nuclear family is the conservative. We are at a point in time where society is so degraded and filthy that we think of the nuclear family as the ideal, because the standard in America, not the fringe, the standard in America is the death of the nuclear family. And so what we have being pushed by these crazy leftists is the destruction of the family. Now, when I talk about psyops, I usually give a little bit of background. I did serve in the military. I did work with and was connected to ODA and to psyops. And in Afghanistan, I did have as an infantryman, I did have a primary job as working with COIST and working with military intelligence. And then I got my bachelor's degree in Homeland Security and Domestic Terrorism. So let's back this up here and talk about what a psyop is. People have been psyoped into believing they know what a psyop is. Okay, a psyop is marketing for an idea. Okay. That's where it all boils down to. That's what all of the tactics are. Your used car salesman is probably just as skilled at selling an idea as he is that piece of crap car that he's lying about. Either way, he's selling lies. So when the average person thinks of psyops, they think of spooks, and they think of people dropping leaflets out of airplanes in post World War II Germany. Okay, and what that was guerrilla marketing, using the technology at the time. That was guerrilla marketing, but they want you to think that that's still what psyops is. So to give you just where I'm going with this is, psyops are not a spur of the moment event where the government wants something and they push something out to convince people of something. It's not this simple thing. Psyops oftentimes are long-standing, consistent operations with multiple types of media being used to program people to think a certain way. Back to the nuclear family. We think of the nuclear family again as a conservative value, as the American dream, as the Christian patriotic way that this should all be formed. But take us back to Afghanistan now, when we were handing out these hand crank solar powered radios to these radios, we were handing them out for free. These radios are being used to blow us up. And everybody's like, why the hell are we doing this? I did a video about this not too long ago. Funny enough, in that video, I missed the punchline of the fact that none of my peers to this day understood why we did this. But having my connections to military intelligence and actually speaking with the squadron commander and company commander and everything, like on an intelligent level, I realized that we were running a radio station that played all the most popular music, and we had talk shows, and we were really hitting women's rights hard, because the problem in Afghanistan is we could not defeat the family, we could not get information on where the terrorists were, we could not get them to work with us. And when you destroy a tightly knit unit, in this case, and since the very beginning of mankind with Adam and Eve, this tightly knit unit is the family. If we could destroy that, that is opportunity that was not available to us. Okay? So, destruction of the family was the goal, and most psyops, ultimately the goal will be destruction of the family. Because it creates opportunity. This gets in depth, but we're at surface level, and you should be able to, springboard from where I'm going and start to make sense of your local politics and U.S. history, springboarding from some of these simple things on your own. So the problem is we view the nuclear family as a balance between independence and stability. The stability of the family, the stability with the children, but also the independence of going out and being our own little nuclear cell, our own little nucleus, our own little self-contained element. And the problem is, in this self-contained element, you have, for the most part, unless your kids are living with you a little longer, you have one fighting-aged male, one guy to run security. You see, we are constantly being pushed towards minimum wage jobs should pay a living wage, and as soon as you're 18, that is time to go to college, to leave your family, to go start your own family. But you give away your independence. This has been advertised to us as freedom. It is the loss of freedom, because true freedom lies in your ability to push back against politicians, people in power, and you cannot do that as a nuclear family. People will sit here and talk big all day about how, no, ain't nobody taking my guns. The guns that you're so worried about them taking, you can't even own. Oh, I don't want to own this. The ATF's going to come kill my dog and burn down my house. Yes, they will. You can't even own the guns that you are blustering about them never being able to come and take. You are using their language as given to you by the NRA with a modern sporting rifle. You are using their language, and you are fighting against people who use the term assault rifle and trying to convince them that, no, your rifle is not a fighting rifle, when it is, and that is the point of it, and that is the point of the Second Amendment. But you're not going to do anything and leave your household alone, leave your wife and your kids alone to go die. You're not going to. And everybody blusters, oh, we know their home address. A farmer flew overhead and saw in my crop field his family's address out in my field outlined in squash. No, you don't know anybody's address, and not only do you not know, you don't have the logistical capability to know because they aren't from around you. Our military is never going to bring people in to be tyrants in their own area. They're going to deploy somebody else in. You have no ability to find their families. You can't even find out their names. But they can find out yours. They do have that logistical capability. These guys in Afghanistan, these family units living in a kalat, they can send their sons and their brothers out, or they can go out knowing that their fathers are going to take care of their families, knowing that someone is still there to make sure that things are going to work out right. The Revolutionary War was the same thing, and all over the world, for a large part, families live together because no matter how much you want to talk about the glories of socialism and this and that and the other, all of these other countries suck so bad that people can't afford to have hobbies like we have here. And they can't afford to go out and live on their own. They're viewing that as independence, but they're staying as a larger family unit because that's all they can afford to do. But that's also their power. So the nuclear family is the antithesis of freedom. People are encouraged in our society to trash their relationships with their family and most importantly with their parents, and to leave and to move out of state. And entire families are spread out all over the country. And your support group, what, your buddy that you drink beer with at work? They ain't gonna lose their family for you. They ain't gonna lose their lives for you. They ain't gonna lose their job for you. They will not do anything for you. And so people will bluster this and that and the other, and you're allowed to bluster because it's all worthless. They know it's worthless, and in your heart, you know it's worthless, or you probably would have done something by now. What we need today is we need Christian families to come together. I'm always harping on training. Like, guys, you own a couple guns, you are a gun enthusiast, take your fighting rifle and your fighting pistol to tactical response. If you have to do it, I hate credit. If you have to do it on credit, do it on credit. Stay in the team room, bring canned tuna and oatmeal. That's what I did. Don't go out and eat with everybody. Eat in the team room, stay in the team room for free, eat next to nothing in food, go there as cheap as possible, and go get some training. Even if you are prior military, go get some private training. But that training still, in our society, with the wrong mindset, tactics, skills, gear, with the wrong mindset, it's still not going to get you anywhere. We need, and here's where the feds are going to honeypot you. Find your tribe. And tactical response is not of any fault of theirs, that tribe. Your tribe is some tribe of randos who went to the same school as you, or who joined the same Discord server as you, or who say the same political things as you. They're not giving it all up for you. Chances are you can't fix this. I understand the world we live in. I can't fix this. I can't force my parents and family to do something or other. You can't fix this for you, but you can raise your kids. I know we have to have a 2-family income, which means that we have to send our kids to government daycare every day, the most important asset in the entire world. Let's have them be raised by the government. They'll come out fine. I came out fine. They'll come out fine. Raise your doggone kids. Get your training change your mindset in here and move in that direction. And you're talking about cost of living today. You know it's going to be worse for your kids. Your parents probably didn't have to have this mindset because guess what? In the 60s and 70s and 80s, things were good. The government was still limited. We didn't have this level of corruption. We didn't have this absolute parasitic draw on the government and on businesses and on everything in the planet. And you know what? They let go of some of these things. Their forefathers had these thoughts, and the Great Depression people, they were thinking in this way, but your parents probably weren't. They didn't feel like they had to. They did have to. They dropped the ball because it was easier. They spent their money, today's money, at your expense. Now it is time for you to be thinking about your kids, about your family, and having an extended non-nuclear family. Get your kids to bring their wives to your property. Have your kids, if you can, working for you, squirreling away money for them, so when they turn a certain age, you can build a house for them, or get them out there with you, building a house that they will someday get. Whatever you got to do. You should be thinking right now, everybody's country this, Trump that, this, that, the other. You should be thinking about your church, your community, and your family. And you should be thinking about your empire that will start with your family, because it's the only thing that you have that you can control anyways. But the illusion of freedom that we have gotten from the nuclear family, or beyond that with the extremist communists and leftists with destroying the nuclear family, that is an illusion of freedom. The reality of it is the government wants you to be as separated as possible because you are as worthless in opposing them as possible. The more you are separated. And guys, I'm not talking about Waco standing up against the federal government. The federal government will still come in, shoot your dog, and slowly burn your children to death, and then take selfies in front of the burning corpses of your children if you play your cards right. If you play your cards wrong, is what I meant to say there. But again, that was probably the wrong mindset, and I'm sure we'll never know the full truth about that situation in David Koresh. But that was the wrong mindset. Start with the right mindset now. Chances are you're going to live within the world that they make. But if you play your cards right and invest in the right places, starting with your family, Lord willing, you can live in that world, but apart from that world. Pretty, people say stuff like that, tie that in from scriptures. When do they act it out? When do they mean it? Start freaking meaning it and follow the thoughts that you have to their logical conclusion. Instead of talking all day about how conservative Trump is because you're constantly being told how conservative he is, look at the numbers. Look at the payments to Planned Parenthood. Look at the government deficit. Look at the socialist programs. Look at the anti-gun movements. Look at Kavanaugh's history and what he was involved in. Look at the Patriot Act 2.0. Stop worrying about what people are saying and start looking at what people are doing. Follow your gut feeling to its logical conclusion and then move from there. But if you can't be honest with yourself because you're afraid or because your hope needs to rest in your government or something like that, you are livestock and you'll be used as such. You can hope that you're going to be the horse that gets put out to pasture when it's done working, but you might be the hog. You might be the duck. You might be the goose. You don't know. You're hoping that you can just put in your little bit of work and that you won't be spat out the other end, but you don't know. Because you're invested in the system, your view of the world is this big. You work probably 9 to 5, you work 40 to 50 hours a week, probably so does your wife. Your children are probably raised by the federal government, and you have these values that you hold dear, but nobody's challenging you to follow those values to their logical conclusion, or challenging you to uphold those values and see what's going on. You are putting your hope in the system when your hope should be in Christ alone. And Christ is saving Israel. He's not saving America. And Israel is not a country made by man. Paul explains to you exactly what Israel is in layman terms. Stop using the world's definition for God's language. It's another sure way to fail. I'm out of here. If you like this kind of content, check out how you can support the channel in the description box below. Both of my businesses are there, my Patreon, some affiliate links for general things. I don't just post up sales hoping to get a couple clicks and whatever, but if you like this content and you're already shopping for ammo or shopping at Palmetto State Armory or whatever, then you can throw in my code and I get thrown a bone once in a blue moon. So there you go. I guess I'll talk to you in the comment section below. I hope that you have a blessed day.